All right, let's take a look at page 175. And on page 175, we're talking about getting ready for the lecture. All right, we're going to get information from the lecture. And this is activity 8, predicting the content of a lecture. Our strategy in the blue box, our strategy is learning to make predictions. So what is the meaning of predict? Predict. What is the meaning of, what is predict? To say in advance, to say before something happens. So the action is called prediction, and making a prediction, making this action of predicting or guessing what's going to come. So good listeners, all right, you guys want to be good listeners? Good listeners make predictions about what they're going to hear, what they're going to hear, future, what they're going to hear in a lecture. And they prepare in many ways. For example, especially not so much in ESL class, but a lot of other classes, when you know you're going to go to a lecture class, you have a lot of homework to do beforehand, which is reading. You have to read the chapter. So the amount of reading that I give you in my class is very little. When you go to your other classes for your major, you will have to read many, many pages and chapters. And this will help you get ready for the lecture. If you do your reading in advance, even if you don't understand everything you read, you will still have an idea of what the lecturer, the instructor, the professor is going to tell you about. Okay, so good students read the textbook and complete the written exercises before the lecture. And then they recognize the pronunciation, the sound, and understand the meaning of the vocabulary related to the lecture. So if you're a good student, you will understand some of the vocabulary that the teacher is going to tell you about because you've done some reading, you've done some studying. And if English is not your first language, if you're not so good at English, then you will spend a little bit more time trying to learn what those words are. Of course, now in my class, I'm trying to show you which vocabulary words to look up, which words to learn to hear the sound and understand the meaning. But other teachers might not do that for you. They just say, read the book. They say, read the chapter. And that means when you read it, you have to find out which words are unfamiliar to you. And then you have to make your own vocabulary list because they're not ESL teachers, right? I'm an ESL teacher, so I tell you, these words are going to be in the lecture. And you can listen to them many, many times. But in real life, you read the book and then you have to make your own vocabulary list, listen to the words, and then when the lecturer talks about them, you say, oh yes, I know that vocabulary. I can understand the idea. So those are some of the things that good listeners, do in order to make predictions. So if they're familiar with these many vocabulary words, and also, you keep trying to improve your grammar, right? You're taking your grammar classes, and I teach you a little bit about grammar in this class, but how the sentence structures, what they mean, how the words are put together. If you keep up with your grammar and your sentence patterns and the vocabulary, then it'll make it easier for you to understand the lecture, right? So good listeners can bring also their knowledge of English, and they're also their knowledge in their mind about the subject, about this topic. So they also think about what they need to learn in order to do well in the course. You remember at the beginning of every chapter, what do we have at the beginning of every chapter? We have our objectives, okay? So in our class, because it's a listening and speaking class, we have listening and speaking objectives at the beginning of every chapter. So in our book, we know this is what I'm trying to learn all through this lesson and through the lectures and through the activities. I'm trying to get better and better at these listening and speaking objectives. In your other textbooks, they're not going to be language classes, but they will have objectives for you to learn. Let's say if it's about nutrition, they'll be learning about different nutrients and of different elements that are good for your body, things that are helpful, things that are not helpful. Those are different things, objectives that you need to learn for another class. So good listeners will prepare by doing the reading in advance, doing the exercises in advance, learning the vocabulary, keeping up with their English structure and grammar so that they understand when the teacher's talking what the ideas are. And they can predict what they're going to hear. And it's easier to understand something if you can make those kinds of predictions. Now, does prediction mean you have to be right? Maybe not, but you need to move your brain. You need to move your brain cells to try All right, so some students are saying, oh, I don't want to say what it is because I might not be right. Well, don't worry about it because predictions are just for you to activate your memory, activate your knowledge, and try to connect what you already know with something that's coming in the future. So on this page where I give you a list of possible topics, okay, so these phrases, these lists of phrases, I asked you to predict the content that might be in the lecture about laughter. So I gave you the phrases, the history of laughter, an introduction, medical effects of laughter, jokes, dangerous effects of laughter, laughter around the world, psychological effects of laughter, physiological description of laughter, laughter and politics, sociological effects of laughter. These are all phrases. So I asked you to think about which ones do you think might be in a lecture in this chapter. Did any of you put check marks? Yes, some of you did. How did you decide which phrases to put a check mark by? What information did you use to make your prediction? How did you make your decision which ones to check? Did you just check, 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 check? Or did you think about which one check, which one not to check? You thought about it? Okay. I want to know what helped you think about choosing this one, check, and not choosing that one. What did you do to think about that? What information did you have in your mind that helps you to predict which ones to put a check by? Okay, you're just telling me what you chose. You said medical effects. Okay, good, you chose that. But I want to know what made you choose that one? Why did you decide to choose that one? I'm teaching you how to think. All right, I want to teach you how to think. Because if you learn how to think, you don't need me anymore. You go on and think by yourself. That's a good thing. I'm only here for a short time with you, right? Only a few months, right? So what information can help you decide which of these to check? Because it's for your health? Okay. Good for your health? Okay, medical effects is related to your health? All right. And what else? What else did you choose and what did you not choose? Tell me why you chose something or tell me why you didn't choose something. Diana? Okay, so you didn't choose dangerous effects of laughter. Did anybody else do the same thing? She said she didn't choose that one. Why not? Why didn't you choose that one? Oh, because you think there are no dangerous effects. You think only good effects for laughter. Okay. All right, that's a good thinking process. You can say, well, there aren't any danger effects, so there won't be anything in this lecture. That could be a way to think about it. Give me another example, something you chose or you didn't choose, and tell me why. I want to know what you're thinking because that helps us with prediction, how to make predictions. Give me another example. What did you choose?
I didn't choose laughter and politics.
You didn't choose laughter and politics. Okay. Can you tell why you didn't choose this one?
Laughter and politics is different meaning.
Laughter and politics are a different meaning. Can there be laughter in politics? Yes or no? Do politicians ever use laughter? Do they laugh? Do they make jokes? No? You've never seen a politician make jokes or laugh? Maybe you think no, huh? Okay, so you think they're very different. I think it's possible to have laughter in politics. In fact, we have many political cartoons. We have cartoons that take current political issues and put them in a cartoon format, and people look at them and laugh at them. So there is laughter regarding politics, but I wouldn't choose it because if I looked at the front of this, if I looked at my chapter, what does it say on the front page of this chapter? What is our focus? What is our focus? What is our academic focus? What is the academic focus of this chapter? Science, social science, psychology, sociology, and medicine. Did it say anything about politics? No. If it had said something about laughter and politics, then maybe it would be reasonable to choose that one. So I'm trying to tell you, you've got a lot of ways to think about making predictions. You have to find all the information possible. Sometimes it's already in your mind.